We are just days away from a brand new season in Arena Breakout Infinite, also called Season Ignition. And with it comes a whole host of new gameplay additions, game modes, and features, some of which have been highly anticipated for a long time. And for me personally, the addition of a solo ops mode quite literally changes the game for me personally, and I will be diving into that quite heavily. But in this really quick video, we're going to be going over the new map, the new game modes, the weapons they're adding, some gameplay enhancements, and just some final quality of life improvements. Let's get into it. When Season Ignition launches on April 29th, 2025, it will bring along with it a brand new map, Northridge. And to be honest, this map looks the most aesthetically and visually pleasing from all the other maps that we have in the game on offer right now. It seems to be another larger map that will be kind of compared to Valley in its size, which is a really huge relief for me personally, as I'm not really a fan of the more linear, close quarters and smaller maps that we have on offer. And alongside of this, there's a whole bunch of different landmarks that all kind of stand out from one another and have their own flair to them. We have the main hotel complex, which I'm assuming is going to be where most of the good loot is, and this is a potential boss spawn area. This hotel complex also looks like it's going to be relatively vertical, with 3 or more floors able to be traversed and explored and lootable. Then there's a cable car station, a dam and sluice gate, a camping service area, so more woodland like Valley because there's some definitely dense woodland areas in this map, a sewer treatment plant, and finally a whole new village, Northridge Village. This gives a very big, diverse array of places to go and explore, and maybe there's some other decently looted areas, so not everyone converging onto the same place, like going to the hotel on farm. That's always a nightmare. Northridge will be getting the same treatment with weather that the other maps have gotten. It's going to have dynamic sunny weather, overcast, and light rain, and I'm sure there's going to be another storm warning event on this map in particular that's going to make it crazy hard to see with some crazy weather effects. It's just such a picturesque landscape being up in the Ontos Mountains, and this is a strange comparison, but when I see this map, it kind of makes me think of Toussaint from the Witcher series. I don't know why. They are completely different worlds in and of themselves, but it just kind of feels really kind of fantasy. I think I'm just a little crazy, but you know, it's a really nice looking map. But releasing alongside Northridge during Season Ignition will be the solo ops test. What I mean by that is they will be testing out solo ops on this map only. I'm assuming it's probably going to be only this map for the entire season. Maybe they open it up about halfway through if they get enough test results. But given how long the first season was, I would really hate to have to wait an entire another season in order to get solo ops on all the other maps. Because as a solo player, I find this really relieving that they notice and appreciate and understand that solo players deserve a spot in extraction shooters, which is predominantly owned by duos, trios, and squads of 4 or more. So being able to jump in, only having to worry about solo players is going to be a breath of fresh air, and this is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this to actually jump back into Arena Breakout Infinite, because as much as I love how casual the game is and how easy it is to pick up, I hate having to fight teams all the time, and the lack of movement, hindrances, and since it's a more casual extraction shooter, fighting squads kind of feels like a COD shooter, and that's not what I want from a tactical realism game. So I'm looking forward to solo ops. Hopefully this kind of changes the PvP dynamic, at least for this mode, but I'm going to be streaming the heck out of this when it comes out, so honestly, we'll see. Make sure you go ahead and check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/ember_loom. You see how I plugged that in right there? Damn, I'm smooth. But solo ops is not the only thing, not the only game mode they will be adding with Season Ignition. We will also be getting Team Deathmatch and other classic modes, which have respawns and more fast-paced gunplay, which will further incentivize more people to get into the game and try out possibly their first extraction shooter. Arena Breakout Infinite is truly becoming the gateway for other extraction shooters. It's free, it's low risk, it's casual, and it goes down to the fun factor and having more classic modes where people get used to how the guns feel, how movement feels, because even though it's still casual, it's going to have a completely different feel than your normal COD. It's going to be, hopefully, a drive for new players to get into the game. We also got some new weapons coming our way. You know, standard fanfare. When you get updates like this for games like these, you always want to expect a few new weapons to make their way into the mix to kind of add some flavor. But in particular, we have the AK-12, the SVTU, and the MCX, which happens to be my favorite submachine gun platform that exists, and I first fell in love with it way back in Battlefield 4's Dragon's Teeth expansion. And if you're as old as me, even though I'm only 25, you will remember that gun and that expansion if you played a lot of Battlefield. But either way, I'm really excited to see it be added into this game so I can pick it up again and get to use it in a more modern context. Another feature the gun fighters out there are going to appreciate that's being brought to enhance the gameplay of Arena Breakout Infinite is a quick draw mechanic. You know, they always say switching to your pistol is faster than reloading, and we get to see that on display here. Instead of reloading, you can sling your gun under your character's arm and whip out whatever sidearm you have on hand and be able to use that in an emergency situation. That is going to change up some fights dramatically, I think, because now you have to kind of go in expecting them to be able to quickly sling out a pistol. And usually extraction shooters don't incentivize you bringing more than your main weapon. I know in Tarkov it adds a lot more weight, and you're never really going to be able to switch to your pistol most of the time. So seeing this enhancement be added to actually incentivize you bringing a pistol more than just when you're really broke is pretty neat. So I'm looking forward to seeing how players use it and how it will be helpful in different situations. And finally, you know, we have quality of life improvements, we have other loot enhancements, balancing, better hand gestures and communication tools, so if you're squatting up with random players, and a better anti-cheat going into 2025. But I do want to make note of one final thing before we close out this update. I don't want to call this a gameplay enhancement or a feature, it's more of just a, hey, that's pretty neat, and that is the fact that they added the ability to kind of inspect really valuable items. They've been showing this off in pretty much all of the Ignition trailers they produced since it was revealed, and people are, you know, petting the golden tiger and they're holding the vase and inspecting it. So I think that's pretty cool. That's using the ability that you're now on PC to its highest advantage. You're on a really powerful engine, you can get to do that, and this game has always ran pretty smooth. I haven't encountered any issues with it. So again, this is a, hey, that's pretty cool type addition, and you know, just nice to see that touch. It really kind of shows that there's some creativity behind this game. And a note on creativity, the trailer that's been playing in the background, pretty well developed. I mean, it was a neat mesh of pre-rendered and in-game. So if you want to watch it in all its glory, I'll leave a link in the description below. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If I missed anything that you found particularly impactful or important for you or just in general, feel free to leave it in the comments below. This was a rather quick one. I put it together this evening once they released their final little trailer there before the launch. So again, if I missed something that you think is important, I want to hear about it, and I'm sure other people do too, so make sure to comment it in the description. And I usually read all my comments, so if you have any, you know, constructive feedback in order to help me get better with this stuff, I'd love to hear it too. And if you're new to the channel and you like this content, make sure you hit subscribe and the little bell icon so you're always notified when I post videos. And if you're feeling particularly inclined, feel free to join the community. You'll get various different rewards depending on what tier you choose. Anyway, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you out there.